stands before me. Figure in black, which points at me. Okay, so I think this was a perfect introduction for what we are going to talk about today, and that is Doom. Okay, so of course with the guitar, the signature from Tony Iommi, with the crosses and everything. So Gibson SD, absolutely cool. Well, this is actually an Epiphone, but same family. Amazingly cool guitar. Anyway, what are we going to talk about today? Doom, of course. So the idea for me for this video was to give you some insight of how I became a fan of this particular kind of metal music, and how much it meant to me, and how I decided to finally put together a doom metal band, and of course Crimson Dawn. Okay, I also have a doom metal T-shirt, Wheel, German band, very cool. You see it better. Okay, so let's start talking about it. So my first encounter with doom metal was back in the 90s, and honestly I didn't even know it was called doom metal. Alright, so I just played for you a little piece of Black Sabbath, which is a quintessential doom metal song, the first and still to this day the one that really defined the whole genre. Okay, with that tritone, very ominous sound, lyrics about someone facing the devil, Satan himself, and all that jazz, and so yeah, basically this album, Black Sabbath, first, same titled, was the one that got me into this kind of music. All right, and I mean, not all of the songs on that album have that kind of sound. Black Sabbath is pretty unique, although there are some other things in here like Behind the Wall of Sleep and Sleeping Village that still have that kind of ominous sound, but nothing captures it quite like the song Black Sabbath. Alright, so this was my first encounter with this kind of music back when I was getting into metal, when I was a kid, when I was like 16 years old, and then the other band which I listened to back in the day through a classmate, which lent me their latest CD, which had just came out, and it was this one. Okay, Paradise Lost, Icon. Okay, so as I said, I really didn't know what doom metal was back in the day, and I mean, this album was called Icon. I mean, it was journalists and magazines and so on used to talk about it like calling it more gothic metal than doom metal, but actually, it's I mean, it was just because the idea of doom metal as a genre still wasn't so common back then. I mean, they already talked about doom metal a little bit for some bands, but it wasn't as clearly defined as it is today. So retrospectively, I mean, Icon is a record that has everything, which you should expect to find in a doom metal record. It has the sad melodies, it has the slow rhythms, the crushing guitars. I mean, there are songs here which are absolutely amazing, like Colossal Rain, True Belief, Ember's Fire, of course, Shadow Seasons. I mean, this whole record is fucking incredible. I mean, it's one of the albums which I really listen to uh, very regularly to this day. So many years after I first listened to it. I mean, 20 years later, I'm still here. No. What am I saying? It's not 20. It's almost 30 actually, and I'm still listening to this. Almost 30 years later. It's such a great album. So these were the things which really got me into that kind of world. But then for a few years I didn't know that I was going to become a doom metal fan. I had no exposure to other kinds of music which were sounded like this. Okay, until a few years later, someone suggested to me that I listened to Tales of Creation from Candlemas. Okay, so I listened to Tales of Creation. I really liked it, but then what really sparked my love for doom metal was actually Epic Doom specifically. Was actually Nightfall. Okay, I still love both records, but Nightfall is something special. Songs like Samaritan and Bewitched, The Well of Souls, At the Gallows End. I mean, this is a monster album. I'm sure you're all very familiar with it, and it's unmistakably amazing. So. And this, I think, we're talking about the year 2005 or 2006, around that time. I am not quite sure, but it should be around that time. That was a time when I was, starting to try and listen to different things and expanding my musical knowledge in all the metal subgenres which I hadn't really explored until then. So Candlemas was the band that got me into trying to understand more about doom. So another important record for me before listening to Candlemas, I mean, I listened to this when it came out, but still I didn't know it was called doom metal, and I'm going into it now because I mean I only realized how much I liked this album. I mean, I liked it when it first came out, I liked it a lot, but I really fell in love with it only after discovering Candlemas. So that's why I'm bringing it up now. This is Dio, Strange Highways. All right. Strange Highways was so cool, and back then I wasn't really ready for something like this. All right, and I mean, I was coming into Dio from Holy Diver and Last in Line, those kind of things, which were a lot more closer to traditional metal. Strange Highways is probably the doomiest record that Ronnie has ever done, and I think this really happened because of how much he was pissed off that the reunion with Sabbath had fallen apart, and the Humanizer was another incredible record. Here it is, and this is also something which I listened to back in the day, but probably the first Black Sabbath album that I listened to before then going to discover the debut, which we talked about earlier, this one. So I think it was just Strange Highways. It was kind of like his way to say, okay, fuck you, I'm going to do a very Sabbathish album once again, and you will realize what you missed by letting me go once more, to make a show with that show with Ozzy, which caused him to left the band for a second time. Anyway, Strange Highways is also great, and the title track is absolutely incredible. It's such a great song, and so another band which I loved to listen to when I started to, thanks to Candlemas, I decided I needed to get more into doom metal. So another band which people were talking about as being a doom metal staple, was Cathedral, and this was the record, The Ethereal Mirror, which I immediately fell in love with. I had seen Cathedral supporting Sabbath when I saw the tour of Sabbath. I don't remember if it was the Cross Purposes tour or the Forbidden tour, but they were supporting Sabbath in one of these two. Don't remember. I think it was the Cross Purposes tour, but I'm not 100% sure. Anyway, I had saw them live and I liked them very much. Because Lee Dorian's stage presence was absolutely incredible. I mean, he was such a great frontman, and the music was captivating and everything. But for whatever reason, I mean, those were the days before the internet, when you couldn't simply just go and click on YouTube and say, okay, I just saw this band play, let's hear some of their records. You couldn't do that. You had to go out and buy an album. I didn't know anyone who had Cathedral records that could lend me, so I had to, I would have to go and buy one, and in the end I didn't do it. And I came to Cathedral years later. But the Ethereal Mirror is really a record which is so fucking great. I mean, it's incredible, and I mean, look at the track list. I mean, you get stuff like a Ride, you get stuff like Jaded Entity and Ashes You Leave, and it's such a fucking great record. And my personal favorite, which is Fountain of Innocence. Fountain of Innocence has everything I love in a doom metal song. Lots of melody, all those sad melodies, those heady guitars, and that kind of mystical, mysterious kind of feeling. I just love it. I just love it. Okay, and then as I said, but around that time I became a fan. And then after a while, I started thinking, okay, I need to make a doom metal record, at least one doom metal record. I need to do that, and so that's when I decided to resurrect the Crimson Dawn project and shape it from the original idea, which was traditional epic heavy metal, into something which still had those elements of traditional and epic metal, but also with a very strong doom feel. Because again, that's what Candlemas was doing. They also had pretty strong influences from traditional metal in it, and they were very epic, epic doom. I mean, they say the name of the genre says doom. So that's the moment when I decided, and around that time also this came out. All right, Black Sabbath Dio Years compilation. Okay, this was the compilation that sparked another reunion between Ronnie James Dio and the rest of Black Sabbath, when they made the Heaven and Hell project, with the tours and the album and stuff. I finally got to see them live with Ronnie, which I didn't have the chance to before. So it was such a fucking great moment for me, And this compilation, I'm talking about this because it had 3 new songs recorded specifically for this, and there was such great songs. And in particular, Shadow of the Wind is one of my favorite tracks from Black Sabbath ever, and it appeared here. So when I listened to that, I mean, I think that was the kind of the final ingredient which I needed to understand what kind of sound I wanted to create with my new idea for Crimson Dawn. I mean, I listened to the Shadow of the Wind and I said, okay, this is it. This is what I want to do with Crimson Dawn. I mean, I want to give it, of course, my own interpretation, put my own spin on it. But this is like the original idea, that I need to strive to do something which sounds this good, this epic. All right. So then the one last album which I want to talk about, I listened to this when I was already into Crimson Dawn. The first album was already well underway, almost all written, and I was starting to listen to more and more obscure doom metal band, one after the other, and I was at that point completely a fan of the genre. This album is not strictly doom metal. It has a very strong progressive metal component, But once again, it was very important for me as a musician to understand the direction that I wanted to go with my music in Crimson Dawn. And this is While Heaven Wept, Vast Ocean's Lachrymose. All right. This is an amazing record. Again, so full of melody, such a great atmosphere. It's incredible. If you listen to Vessel to me is one of the greatest songs ever written. I mean, not just in this genre, but not just in metal, but in general. I think it's an amazing song, which really gives me the chills every time I listen to it to this day. That's that's a song which I absolutely adore. And so all of these were the records that basically helped me in shaping my taste in doom and deciding to create a doom metal band and starting to record that kind of music. So I hope you've enjoyed this little chat, and if there's any more that you want to do, that you want to know about the birth of Crimson Dawn and the songwriting process and everything, just ask me, and I will answer either in the comments or with another video next time. All right, thank you for your attention, and stay safe and take care. Doom on!